IREN had ended the week to the downside after a pretty solid week, seeing some really aggressive, confident buyer candles, getting back to the zone where we have been well defended by the sellers, getting that rejection, trying to hold up, and then ending the week with a gap down and go. So why this happened and what should we be expecting for IREN? Relative strength on the market had been very gap down. Some stocks gap down and went. Some stocks gap down and recovered. Green on the day, but still gap down. Look at SPY real quick. Large gap down, but they did make up some ground closing green, but still red in the overall picture, right? So IREN, on the other hand, we did gap down, had a little bit of tougher fundamentals, and that's what led us down to 40.95. Now, if we flip to the weekly, guys, just off candle structure alone, we do have to be a little bit cautious at the spot. I mean, we had this beautiful uptrend, bit of back and forth, lower highs, very sharp sell-off, as we know, and now candle structure alone, we're seeing these very top wicks showing that selling pressure as the buyers are trying to push price up. This is definitely a bit of bearish candle structure. You see a very harsh move downwards, and then you do end up seeing some weaker attempts up. We have a well-defended zone getting shot down. Given the context on the weekly, guys, still in a very good spot here, right? Given that $39 is a very solid base support level, right? As we know, that is the most major spot on stock price, guys, right? Getting the bottom here, finding some leg room up, bottom once again. Once we try to flush that as a false breakdown, bought back up. And again, once we've tried to flush that for a couple of days here, bought up in a very aggressive, confident manner. So anything right around that $39 or slightly below it for, say, a day or two, you have to stay confident. So what we do see, though, guys, lots of compiling. We had right around 2 weeks of compiling. An attempt out, that's where we get shut down for a couple of daily candles. Shot back down, 39 does hold up as we see here. And then we do get another attempt out, well-defended zone, shuts down IREN once again. And so off candle structure here on the daily, right, I did like this doji a lot, right? We get shut down at a zone that had shut us down the previous time, and we do have a doji-like candle. So the candle closes just above that 44 resistance, which had been support in the past as well, right? Resistance turns support, very reactive level, and that looked very good. Although we had that gap down on the overall market, and then some certain fundamentals seeking into IREN, which IREN could not recover, right? We saw a lot of stocks recover. If we flip to the hourly, guys, we just see that gap down effect, right? This was the doji closing above $44, closing slightly green on the day. We end up next day gapping down last trading day, and we just end up going. But what holds up, guys, at $39 level, ending the day on a little bit of a buyback. And we also have that little bit of a volume spike on that last hour, propelling stock up just a bit, getting right around that $41 spot. And so the number one thing for investors to look at for IREN, guys, is just a hold above this well-defended zone of 39 to, say, 38, right? That is the spot we have to hold up. That is the territory where we find the bounces on IREN. Below that spot, or well below that spot, I should say, then things would start to get alarming. I think that 33 would still be active, guys, right around that spot. But you'd be really looking for that bottom of, say, $37 flat to $37.20 to be the bottom zone. We had gotten a buyback right around $36.50. So what I see here is anything, say, a couple days below that 39, if price did end up trying to and attempting to trend downwards like we saw right here, you purely just want to see that buyback within a small window of time. So if the sellers try to run with this, as they've gotten a double top effect now, right? Double topping and shutting price downwards after a doji indecisive candle, continuing the movement down. If the sellers do end up attempting this continued sell-off, you'd want to see the zone hold up, guys, within those dollar levels, 38, 37, and 36.50, and that general zone, and buy back up, reclaiming 39. So moral of the story, guys, $39 is the number one spot to hold above that 39.50-ish zone, with, as we know, anything slightly below that for a day, couple days, 3 days maximum, we do have that ability to buy back up, and it's a very well defended zone. So that's what we see on IREN, guys. That's what we want to see for flipping the tide, right? This can also be in technical analysis, right? Sharp move down, like we know, compiling, attempting to find another move up, bit of a retracement, sellers step in once again, and they further the move. Then you'd be looking for 33, right? Kind of a sharp move down, attempting energy building, and a continued move down. That's also common in technical analysis, which then would be looking for that 33. But for holding up on that 39.60 level and that general zone, buying back up, putting us in that range again, very well defended support, then I do for sure like that rebound effect, getting back above this and retesting this zone, finally blowing past and finding $50, retracing upwards, forming some sort of a cup formation as we go ahead and do that. So I can see that we are in that spot where we are in that deciding territory, guys, where what's going to happen with IREN, we are going to see this move develop and unfold within the next week of price action, right? We are going to see in real time if we're going to hold up at that base. And if you do see a flush of that base, definitely do not get alarmed right away. We do have a lot of this zone, which can hold up even a couple days, 3 days below it, which then could propel us back in the spot that we need to be to find that big retracement back up. So as for my short-term investors, just keep that in mind, right? And if we did flush below in a strong fashion, right, confident red candles like we see right here, guys, if we did see any confidence in the sellers really getting us below that spot for say 1-2 days, then you'd be looking at that $33 spot to hold up as the absolute bottom of this false breakdown spot. So that's what we got going on, guys, for IREN. Would like to see the recovery here. We had that mix of a gap down within the overall market and certain fundamentals like the convertible debt that led IREN to not recovering. So keep your eye on that $39 spot and that relative zone right around that $3 fluctuating zone to hold up and propel us back and find that potential rebound effect above 44, holding above 44 well, and then finding that price target of $50. We have a range decider right in the middle here where breaking this very aggressively, the very bottom looking for 33, rebounding and holding up at the spot, well defended. You'd be looking for that retest of these previous highs in $50. So that's what I got for you guys. If you enjoyed, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button if you found value today. Links are in the description for my education course, how to read the charts, how to trade correctly, as well as my watch list for you guys interested. Appreciate you all watching the video. As always, guys, trade smart. I'll see you all in the next one.